All right, everybody, welcome out to the Log Room Guys Craft Beer Show. It is Tuesday, January the 10th, 2023. Jersey Johnny coming at you. And with me, as always, is none other than Mr. Beer Samurai. Say hello, Mr. Samurai.
Hello, everybody.
Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year, our first
It's
show
our
of
first show
2023.
we were off last week. I was on temporary assignment. So if you want to call it that.
To drink beer in Boston.
Exactly.
You have a good trip?
It was good. It was good. It was fun.
Good.
Good time, as always, you know.
No, Boston.
Boston's Boston. Yeah, not a whole hell of a lot going on the first week in January, so that was time to get away. So
And Johnny sends me a picture of the Coastal Brew Works sticker behind a bar and goes, guess where I am? It's mostly a close up of the sticker. I'm like, well, I know that lighting. That's Bukowski's.
there you go.
There's very few places that are lit the way that place.
Yeah.
Well, actually, not lit the way that place is.
Not lit the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, it was fun. Yeah, spent a little time at Bukowski's. Was it night shift? There's a sticker at night shift too, at the sticker wall.
Very nice.
And a few other breweries, but enough.
Did you put my sticker anywhere?
I did not.
Why did I give you any?
Because you gave me 6 stickers, and I've used them already. I need more.
Oh, I'll get you more.
Yeah.
I'm going to whole stack of them.
There you go. Anyway, so
And if anybody wants a Coastal Brew Works sticker or a Beer Somewhere sticker, let us know.
Let us know.
We may send it to you. We may ignore you. Not
And
sure.
soon we'll actually have the Log Room Guy stickers too. So
yeah.
we'll send you a pack of 3.
There we go. There you go. Good old thing.
Anyway, so what are you eating, by the way?
Oh, well, Christmas is over, of course, so Valentine's candy's out.
Of course. Well, Valentine's candy was out in November.
This is probably true. I mean, it's not as bad as the seasonal creep of pumpkin, but
Everywhere's getting there, though.
But
like
today,
back to school stuff is coming out next month for September.
Oh, you mean the most wonderful time of the year if you're a parent. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes. No, but I'm eating so Hershey's Miniatures is all dressed up for Valentine's Day, and this is a special dark. And you know what I mean, special dark, right?
No, why are you eating the special dark day?
National Bittersweet Chocolate Day.
Happy National Bittersweet Chocolate Day.
I love these. And so as a kid, people are like, oh, so you're eating the old people's chocolate now. Like, no.
Yeah.
I like these since I was like 5.
Yeah, me too.
The great thing about it is, when the family would get a bag of minis, I'd get all the special darks.
Right. Because nobody ate them.
Bad part is I wasn't allowed to have any of the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the other ones too. I love crap.
And now that you're an adult, you can
have
what you
whatever
want.
I can have cake for breakfast.
There you go. There you go.
So what do you think? What do you think would be good beer to pair with bittersweet chocolate?
A good beer to pair with bittersweet chocolate. I don't know. Why don't we ask an expert?
An expert.
An expert.
Well, the person who wrote the book on beer pairings, is from Brooklyn Brewing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Why is his name escaping me right now?
Talking about Garrett Oliver?
Garrett Oliver. So he wrote the book. But we do know someone who wrote a craft beer cookbook.
Right.
And is an expert on beer pairings.
Yeah, absolutely.
We should
That
get
would
them
be
on.
We should get them on. Why don't we get them on right now?
Look, can you do that?
I can do that. We can do that. We have the technology.
This shtick's getting old, isn't it?
I know. Welcome to the show, please. John Hall, thank you for joining us tonight.
I mean, keep doing it, because 1 week it might be funny.
Right, exactly.
That's kind of the Family Guy thing, where it's just like, I'm going to repeat this thing that's supposed to be funny 87 times.
Yeah.
The first 3 times is funny. Now it's getting weird. Now it's extremely awkward. And now it's funny again.
Now it's funny again.
Now it's funny again.
Exactly.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me here.
Thanks for coming on, everybody. John Hall.
By magic over the satellites. And
But what is a good beer to pair with bittersweet chocolate?
Whatever you want.
I like that.
Here's the thing. So Pete Schlossberg, who is of Pete's Wicked fame, one of the early craft beer brands in America. And drinkers of a certain age will remember Pete Schlossberg. After he sold that brand, he got into chocolate, like really into chocolate. He had a chocolate company for a while called Cocoa Pete's. And he gets to travel the world now talking about beer and chocolate. And in my latest book, which is called the Craft Brewery Cookbook, available where fine books are sold, I have a whole essay in the back of where I interview Pete, and then we give suggestions on various chocolates and beer styles to pair with them. But Pete sort of gave me a tutorial in beer and chocolate. And the big thing that I realized, and Samurai, you're doing it wrong, is...
Of course I am. I'm always doing it wrong.
It didn't occur to me, but he said the big thing is to not necessarily take a bite of chocolate and a sip of beer, but take a bite of chocolate and let it melt in your mouth. So let it liquefy in your mouth so that you can taste it that way, and then chase it with a beer style. And I think bittersweet would probably go with something well like a Scotch ale. I think something that maybe has, or maybe not a barley wine, but something that has like a little bit of alcohol heft to it, maybe a little bit of like a little bit of smokiness, a little bit of some of those berry flavors. I think that a Scotch ale would come from. But the big thing that Pete told me that is stuck with me since I had this conversation with him is let it melt on your tongue a little bit beforehand, so you can get the full flavor of the chocolate
what I'm doing
before
right
you
now.
take the sip. So
don't just bite, chew, swallow. Don't do
exactly,
that.
because you're not getting much out of it. It's
exactly.
Yeah.
So if I talk like this right now, it's because I've got chocolate in my mouth melting.
The other thing too is,
as far as we know,
Pete, while he wouldn't be totally dismissive of you, would also not be totally thrilled that you're eating mass-produced generic Hershey stuff.
I would much rather
he's very big on artisanal chocolate, as you might imagine, given his beer background.
Oddly enough, we've actually had chocolate on almost every show since Thanksgiving at one point or another, and most of it has been, well, at least Ghirardelli, right? I mean, so it's mass-produced, but certainly not Hershey's by any means.
And the worst part is,
I don't know who the owner is. Yeah, I don't know if like Big Chocolate has a lot. I don't know how.
But this way, it's American chocolate, and for the most part, your mass-produced American chocolate. It's just It's corn syrup. The sad part is, I work in the same building as Italy. I can go downstairs and get Italian chocolate, but I didn't think to do it when I left work today. So I've got the dark, the special dark.
You've got the Hershey Special Dark, right? Exactly. So there you go. I actually have artisanal chocolate downstairs, and it's like, I don't know, like 80% Baker's chocolate. It's like super, it's like almost powder, and it's super bitter and everything else. I should have actually brought a piece of that, but I did not want to have chocolate. That was my goal.
The only artisanal chocolate I have is it's a milk chocolate with chilies in it. So
that probably wouldn't have gone good with the beer we're about to drink. Which
I like that you guys are just talking about chocolates that like you don't have in front of you, but that are somewhere in your periphery.
There.
All right, cool.
But we didn't know we were going to degrade into a chocolate conversation. We thought it would be a short little shtick, and we'd be done with it and move on to beer.
You asked him the question. Did you not expect him to answer it?
Well, he's usually so short-winded.
Well, he is right now anyway.
That's it. I'm just not talking.
I'm just hoping we're moving on soon.
We're moving on right now because I would like a beer right now. So, Dave, what is your first beer there, sir?
He's talking to you, John, because we know you're open already.
I am drinking Dovetail out of Chicago. I'm drinking their Valk beer.
Very nice.
Very nice. Very nice. I'm starting off local, starting off Jersey. Mm-hmm. Little Dogs Kachu.
There you
go. Love this. It's not highly smoked. It's so drinkable, so approachable, and I love that she named it after the novelty store that used to be in Neptune, who invented sneezing powder. So, hence the name.
There you go.
Had no idea.
I found that out when I went there and actually had it on New Year's Eve at 4:00 in the afternoon. So I actually was able to partake in the annual Little Dog New Year's Eve picture. So if you look at the Little Dog page in the back, you can
see your hat.
Well, no, you're going to see me going like this. So
touchdown Jesus.
Exactly.
Gretchen is wonderful. She has a great brewery. Everybody should go and visit Little Dog.
Absolutely.
100% agree with John on that.
100%. Here we go. start turning over a new leaf. I'm going to start taking my obligatory picture that way on the laptop's photo page.
I see, because you've got the backsplash and everything going.
Exactly. So my first beer is going to be another local New Jersey beer. I will just mention the last name of the brewery, not the first name. That would be Carton Brewing, and it's Austin 1. It's actually a can that I had left over from when they released it about, 5-6 months ago. Curious, I've seen a couple people say that it actually, because it was very lightly smoked, and a couple people have said that it seems that the smoke has gotten a little bit more prevalent. I'm going to find out right now.
Well,
a little bit, not as much as they were alluding to, but yeah, a little bit. It's a little bit more pronounced, but not crazy.
Smoke, the addition of smoked malt in Rauch beers really do lend themselves to aging, and it's fun to see how things evolve over time. I probably still have a can of that Austin downstairs somewhere, so I'd be curious as well. But I mean, when you think about Alaskan smoked porter, which is in the U.S. the one that most people look to, and that it's an annual release that you can do vintages of it.
Sure.
It really does change over the years, and I think in kind of a pleasing way. There's not a lot of beers, even low ABV, that are going to age well, but Rauch beer certainly does.
Yeah, this is definitely, I mean, from what I can remember, the last time I had a can of it was probably August or September, but this is definitely, from my taste bud memory, a little bit more pronounced, and it's still delicious. So
cool. we smoke meat to preserve it. Is this the same mechanism for helping that beer age?
Yeah.
Or is it just the flavor?
No, there is a preservative agent in there, and I should know this because Patrick Dawson, who's a great writer, wrote a book several years ago about how to cellar beers. I forgive me, I forget the name of the book right now, but it might actually just be called Cellaring Beers. But Patrick Dawson wrote it, and he talks about high ABV, and he has a really good bit about the science that goes into why Rauch beer can age so well, and there is a preserving agent to it. So yes.
Okay. It's called Vintage Beer: A Taster's Guide to Brews that Improve Over Time.
Vintage beer.
Yeah, it's a great book. I highly recommend it. It's a couple of years old, but the information is just spot on.
Yeah, and I didn't know that. If you could see, my fingers were doing this.
Yeah, well, I was doing the same thing, and I was about to say right when you saw it. So we achieved the same thing at the.
It's not a race, John.
It was a race. It was a race this time. we don't have our producers. We can't. We fired Brian, and Matt is.
You keep the other one too busy.
I keep the other one too busy. Exactly. So, anyway, yeah, this is fantastic. All right, let's talk some smoke. John, before we start, we always the question we always ask everybody. We've asked you before because you've been on the show before. So let me ask you this: to the best of your recollection, what was the first smoked beer you ever had?
It had to have been a Schlenkerla at some point.
Mm-hmm.
We're blessed here in New Jersey that it's imported quite a bit, and I know there are various great beer bars that would have it. Yeah, I don't fully remember, but I'm gonna say it was probably a Schlenkerla at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I do remember very early on when I started writing about beer, I was at the Great American Beer Festival, and they used to do a reception after judging was over. This was before I was a judge, but I was invited into the room. So at the hotel where GABF judging would happen, they do a Friday night reception thereabouts for judges only and invited guests, and they would have all of the leftover beer that had already been judged, but not open. So you could go and walk around and you could drink and you could have a good time. And it was sponsored by Alaskan Brewing, who would bring Alaskan smoked porter as well as smoked salmon from the processing facility, which is across the street from the brewery, I'm told. I still haven't been there. But originally, when Alaskan smoked porter started, they were taking their malt across the street and smoking it on the same smokers as they did the salmon.
Oh, wow.
So there was always this sort of like oily characteristic early on to some of those Alaskan smoked porter beers. But I remember that for the first time of having great smoked salmon and a great smoked porter at the same time. And that was, I don't know, 15 or more years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And just remembering that experience. So probably Schlenkerla, but that experience sort of stood out in my mind. I was in this room with world-class beer that had just been judged.
Right.
And we're all standing around drinking smoked porter and locks, which was just awesome. Yeah.
That sounds like I wish I was there.
It's a charmed life.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. For me, I was thinking this. I was trying to think. The only thing I could possibly think of was a Schlenkerla. I mean, it had to be, right. There certainly wasn't being really being brewed, or to the best of my knowledge anyway, except for not in New Jersey anyway at the time. They
would pop up now and again. I mean, when you think about some of those early days of Jersey breweries, I'm talking, late 90s, early aughts. I feel like they would pop up now and again. Like Heavyweights probably did one at some point, and there's, some of the brew pubs. I feel like you could go to Crow's and reliably get one in autumn. They were always just sort of on the periphery, and it was always, why does this beer smell like Band-Aids? It's
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that'd be that. Dave, do you remember, or you're gonna?
It's either
take
one
the
of,
same route.
It's either one or two. It was either Latin smoked porter, and I remember getting that in a beer trade from a ferry operator in Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember seeking it out because the whole the legend behind that was that Michael Jackson had declared this his favorite beer, one of the best beers. Mm-hmm. So everyone was out looking for it. But I don't know if I got that after or before I did my MBA at Cloverleaf. And Schlenkerla was on that. And that's the Märzen's was on the MBA, the first MBA.
Right.
So I don't know what came first, but it was one of those two.
Gotcha. Gretchen Schmidhauser just weighed in. Hey, Gretchen. Thanks for watching.
Cinderbach. Yeah, that's right.
Heavyweight Cinderbach. Yep.
Well, there we go. Oh, that's another one.
I do remember Cinderbach. Yeah.
Sam Adams did a
Cinderbach too, but yeah.
So now it's one of those three.
Yeah, theirs was called Campfire or something, and I want to say that Sam Adams did one as well as part of the long shot competition. That there's a Rauch beer that made it through, better part of a decade ago or more.
Yeah, it was a while back. It was in those weird shaped bottles,
right.
Very differently shaped bottles.
There were 750s, but they were smaller, but then a little wider, a little stubbier.
A little wider on the bottom and kind of tapered up a bit.
So, but that was good. All right. The main reason, obviously, main thing I should say that we want to talk about tonight is this fantastic, wonderful, visited by me daily Facebook page that you created. Not too long ago, called This Week in Rauch Beer. Let's talk about it a bit. When did you get the inspiration to create it?
Or the nudge?
The nudge.
So,
the nudge from a nudge.
Yeah. So I do a podcast myself. I do a couple, but one of the podcasts that I do is called Drink Beer, Think Beer. Mm-hmm. And I started it in mid 2019. And my very first interview that I did for that show, although it wound up, I think, being like the 5th episode that dropped, but the very first interview that I did for that show was with Bill and Hagen of Dovetail out in Chicago. And we started talking about their Rauch beer program. And we were talking about both of them trained to be brewers in Germany. They have a healthy love for the style. And their grist bill is something like 97% smoked malt, which when you talk to most brewers in the U.S. about their Rauch beer, it's like, well, we went really all in on 23%, or we really pushed the limit by getting it up to 24.5%. These guys are like, yeah, it's 97%, if not more. And so it's not incredibly overwhelmed by smoke. So anyway, we started talking on this podcast about how Rauch beers don't get enough love, and they started to encourage me that there should be a Rauch beer podcast. And so in a moment of joined hallucination, we started talking about, well, what would a Rauch beer show look like? And we're like, of course, it has to be weekly, and it has to have all the topical news of Rauch beer, and it has to have interviews with influential Rauch beer brewers. And then, of course, we'd bring on Bart Watson, who is the chief accounting or the chief economist for the Brewers Association, to give us the weekly sales numbers of Rauch beer in the United States and beyond. And we had a good laugh at it. And that was it. And then we went on and started talking about lagers or cool ships or something else. I forget now at this point. But I started getting, as people started listening to the show after it premiered, I started getting pinged on social media or emails, or when I was still out in the world in late 2019, early 2020, where people would be like, where's the Rauch beer podcast? And I said, well, this is ridiculous. I'm certainly not going to do that. And then COVID came. And everybody was, by March, especially in our area of Jersey, and early April, we were all kind of shell-shocked, and everybody didn't know what was going on, and was looking for some sort of levity. And Drink Beer, Think Beer comes out on Wednesdays, and it just so happens that Wednesday, or April 1st, was a Wednesday. I was like, all right, I'm going to do an April Fool's Day show with This Week in Rauch Beer. And so Andy Crouch, who's my business partner, he's now the co-owner of All About Beer with me. He wrote an essay about his love of Rauch beer. Lou Bryson, the noted whiskey writer, came on to talk about peat malt and for Scotch, and Ray Daniels of Cicerone, who co-authored the smoked beer book with Jeff Larson of Alaskan, came on, and everybody else was kind of half taking it serious. I did kind of like a little bit of a serious news anchor voice the first time, and we had dramatic music that played and everything. Ray Daniels comes on and starts doing this like Wisconsin meets the Swedish chef accent that I can't understand. And I'm trying not to, he didn't tell me he was doing it until he started. You can go back and listen to it. It's from April of 2020. And it's ridiculous. And the response was great. So from there, we got a logo, and we're like, well, screw it. We're going to get glassware made. And we had glassware made, which sold out pretty quickly. And then we started a different thing called Camp Rauch Beer for the summer, which also did fairly well. And so for the last couple of years, on April 1st, I have done this show and every episode has ended with Bart Watson from the DA being a really good sport, coming on and reading. There's the logo for This Week in Rauch Beer. Carl, who's a great bartender, Carl Hittmiller, who was behind the stick at Barcade Jersey City and Barcade Newark for a long time. Barcade Jersey City designed both of those logos, and he's really wonderful at what he does. But Bart Watson comes on the show like the good sport that he is, and reads the actual Rauch beer sales numbers, because we pretend like we keep doing the show every week and that it's just people are showing up. So it's great fun, and I guess we're in January now, so I have to start thinking about April. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that we did was we started a Facebook group for it. There's a Twitter and an Instagram as well at TW Rauch Beer. But the Facebook page has close to 2,000 people that get together to talk about smoke beer, post new smoke beer alerts. So we don't have to guess of where the smoke beer is now, like we did in the olden days of 20 years ago. We can now actually say like, oh, like, I'm going to such and such city. Who's got Rauch on? And you get response. It's what a time to be alive. What a time to be a Rauch beer drinker.
Well, I think one of the most amazing things that I saw was, if you posted it on This Week in Rauch Beer, was it Untapped listed the top 50 styles? and Rauch beer had broken the top 50 for the first time.
That I did.
I think you posted, yeah.
Yes. So I do reviews for Wine Enthusiast magazine. I'm the beer reviewer in the back of the magazine there. And one of the cool things is that I get to
not the centerfold.
No, that's those are all vines. Hops are in the back. I get to pick the categories. So every issue that comes out, it's okay. This is the IPA issue. This is the lager issue. We're going to talk about Hefeweizens. So last year, when they're like, well, you have 12 issues to fill. What categories do you want? And I was like, I'd love to throw in Rauch beer and just see what happens. And the response was great. And I got to run blind panels of Rauch beer for a couple of weeks here at the home office, which was a lot of fun. But then I pick from all of the beers that I review that year based on score and availability. There's a whole metric that we use. And there's a whole bunch of Rauch beers because there's a whole issue dedicated to it, whole section dedicated to it. And so, yeah, it was nice to have some Rauch beer get a little love. And, it's nice when you can do something for the smoked malts.
Now, the question I have about this, the popularity of the smoked beers now.
Yeah.
It's gaining in popularity. Now, is the Facebook page because it is, but it's because we're seeing so much. There's so many more breweries that are making Rauchs now. You're seeing so much.
I was just at Treehouse last Thursday.
Yeah.
They had 5 smoked beers on their list.
Now, is it just its turn and you just happen to be in the wave, or does this over 2,000 followers Facebook page have something to do with the turning of the tide?
As much as I would like to think that I am somehow a Rauch beer kingmaker, I have no such delusions of that.
You can't deny the timing.
I actually don't post in that group nearly as much as other people who are drinking them far more often than I am. I try to keep up on the news. I try to share this stuff, but it is heartening to see how many people are making Rauch beers. And yeah, there have been brewers that have done This Week in Rauch Beer beers or put the name of the Facebook group on their cans. Mike Fry down at Fry Brewing in Bradley Beach, or Point Pleasant, New Jersey. Yeah. He did a Rauch beer. That had my picture on it, which was ridiculous. And I still haven't seen that check. Logan Ackerley out at Wallenpaupack Brewing, who is a huge lover of smoked beers and who has smoked beers on quite regularly. He did a whiskey barrel aged Graditsky a while back, which was just a lot of fun to drink. Hand numbered bottles, which was really nice as well. So yeah, I think that if a brewer sees that there are enthusiasts about something, they're willing to try it. Rauch beer is such a hard sell for people. And my joke is, and it's not really a joke, it's like, that's awesome that you're making a Rauch beer and that you don't care about making money. It's
accurate.
Sierra Nevada and Mills River has one on right now.
Yeah, you just posted
and we posted about it because my friend John Page was there, former colleague John Page, who did all the photography for the Craft Brewery Cookbook, by the way. Buy the book for the photography because it's that good. But he was there and he took a picture of it. He sent it to me and I put it up to the group. And somebody sent me a note saying, I was there in November. Or maybe this is on the page. Like I was there in November, and I was like, "Boy, it's great that they've brewed 2 batches in a row." But obviously, it's the same batch that's been on since.
Well,
November,
so I'm crossing my fingers.
Yeah,
I'm crossing my fingers because I'm actually going to be there the end of February. So hopefully it'll be still.
I'm pretty sure you're good through at least Easter.
All right.
Yeah,
I will let you know if I get it.
It doesn't move because it is such a polarized. I think it's probably the most polarizing style of beer. just based on aroma, based on taste. But I do think that when people try it for the first time, and depending on the route that they're doing, porter is going to be different than traditional helles. Obviously, you have the Grodzisky's, the Gratzers, that have this tartness to it, some of that lactobacillus to it. There's so much that's out there these days, and experimentation as well. I mean, you have places like Switchback that have in Vermont that have a whole Rauch beer program that they call Flint on Fire. Flint Avenue is the street that the brewery is on, but they have done saisons, they have done oyster stouts, they have done IPAs, and they are not afraid to try any style with smoke. And I think it can be versatile, and I think it can be a lot of fun. So yeah, if somebody is looking for a safe haven because you're a Rauch beer lover or Rauch curious, come join the group. And it's
Rauch curious.
Yeah, Rauch curious. And it's fun. And so I don't know if this group is doing anything for it. And I'm fairly confident that as much as you think it's growing,
it's growing to an extent.
It is definitely growing.
Until I hear the numbers from Bart Watson pulling out the IRI data, I'm not going to go for it. But I'm loving the hell out of the group and the good time that we're having.
It's great. It really is.
We've gone to our second.
We got your second, and what's your second?
It's the same thing you're drinking because I saw you take the picture. I saw the can. It's a very, very distinct can. This is. I need my glasses to read this friggin' beer.
Yeah. Wychinansky. Yeah, Wychinansky.
So this is
or Wychinansky actually.
Wychinansky. Yeah.
Wychinansky. Yeah.
This is a Pivo Grodzisky.
Yeah.
Actually. So, and I just want to change the glass for this. I gave it proper treehouse glass.
Oh, I stuck to the branding.
Thank you. The This Week in Rauch Beer glasses, limited quantities still available at allaboutbeer.com.
I actually have to get mine. I have my sticker and everything else, but which I was presented by you at dinner in Minneapolis in May. So that was very nice.
That's right. We all got COVID.
Right.
Mine came with the glass.
Yeah. The Craft COVID concert.
The Craft COVID
conference. Yeah.
There you go.
Wow.
But,
wow.
Whatchamacallit. But I do have, like I showed before we started the show, I do have this is always sitting on my desk, this glass, right?
That's one of the original. Look at that. That's all. I don't even think I have one of those anymore. I think all of mine have shattered over the years. Those were the etched glasses that we did for the live show, right?
Yep. The one at Barcade, Jersey City.
With Mitch Steele.
Mitch Steele, yeah.
God, that was a lifetime ago. Those glasses.
So it was almost 5 years ago. Yeah.
Cost us a fortune. And we passed the cost on to you, so nice. It was fine.
Well, Mitch did bring a bottle of 2013 Woot Stout that he had, so we were able to drink that.
Wow!
Yeah, we had it.
Was I there?
You were there. Me, you, Augie, and Mitch were drinking it.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, was I polite?
As best as I can recall, yeah.
Or as best as you're capable of.
Which was funny because I actually had just texted Jess that I was leaving. Did she need anything on the way home? And Augie says, "Where are you going?" And I says, "I'm going home." And he says, "No, you're not." And then Mitch pulled out the bottle of 2013 Woot Stout. I texted Jess back, "Please disregard my last text."
I wound up that night drinking Pilsner Kell around the corner with Mitch, which was a fun night. It's funny. The older I get, and it's not even an inebriation thing because that's just not fun anymore. But all of the beers that I've had, I just kind of forget about the particular beers and remember, like life in broad strokes these days. Like, oh yeah, we hung out with Mitch and we had a good time, and then I had a quiet drink with him afterwards that I remember. But 2013 Woot Stout is not something that I remember, but I'm sure it was delicious.
It was very.
I'm glad you remember it.
That was very good. It was. And then of course I just want to do this too. I've been keeping this under cover. There.
Jesus. You're doing all the branding for Steel.
I'm doing it for.
He went straight up fanboy here.
I feel.
Well, no, because I knew Dave was going to have all the This Week in Route beer stickers and everything else.
If you want to do the fanboy thing, you should just have Kennedy on, because he's the one that's hardest to get for the show. I feel bad. I'm just here in my in my button down.
You could at least could have worn a bow tie. I like
this is true.
Love it when he wears bow ties.
Casual Tuesday.
Casual Tuesday. Yeah. So, I do want to ask you.
Yes.
The post you put up, I guess it was probably a week and a half ago, or whatever. Arby's made a smoked bourbon. Is that what that was?
Arby's.
Arby's.
You said Arebees. I was like, are bees made of smoked? I know, I know the environment is screwing with their habitat. It's like, what is their genetic makeup now?
You smoke to calm them down, so maybe
exactly.
Part of their DNA.
So bees quite correctly are smoked. So there you go.
Arby's Arby's.
You put them in the easy wider, roll them up, and smoke them.
Exactly.
Arby's had a promotion earlier or in mid 2022 where they worked with some distiller to put out a smoked bourbon. So it had, I guess peat malt in it, but it was an American whiskey, bourbon-esque. I don't know if it was officially bourbon, and they called it like Arby's smoked bourbon. And then they had a little kit that they put together where you could light some kindling on fire and put your glass on top of it and then pour that.
Nice,
Just like a cute little thing. But I think it was a promotion that they were doing to sell obviously more sandwiches. I honestly don't know, but I had it because it came to the home office, which was very nice, and I didn't know what to do with it. So I waited until Christmas and we opened it up with the family. And
gotcha. Was that your picture or was that their picture?
That was my picture.
That was your picture.
Yeah, that was my picture on Christmas night with the family, where we're like, well, we opened the presents. Let's go drink the Arby's whiskey.
Did it have the meats?
No, but we had a really delicious prime rib earlier. So
that's you definitely had.
Then you had the meats. So you were just washing them down.
Washing down that roast beef.
I don't actually know the last time that I had Arby's. It's I have a weird relationship with that with that particular chain. I used to be a reporter. The question you guys didn't ask me, but I used to be a reporter out in Indianapolis, Indiana, and my beat was night cops. So you work until midnight, 2 a.m. covering whatever breaking news disaster is happening until the paper goes to print. And the only place that was open in the dinner hour in downtown Indianapolis was an Arby's. And so I ate a lot of Arby's back in my early 20s as a reporter. And I didn't like that job very much. And so I think my dislike of Arby's was sort of manifested because of my dislike of that overall job and being in that city in the Midwest. So it's been a while since I've had Arby's, and I'm sure it's a perfectly adequate sandwich these days.
I haven't had it in many years. Best I can remember, it actually was decent, but I mean, it's been so long.
My son
the other thing too is living here in Jersey, and there's not many of them left. No. But if you want a good fast food roast beef sandwich, and you also love pickles, you're going to go to Roy Rogers,
right?
If you can find one, yes.
And there's not many. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Always
there's one. There's one in Brick by me. It's not that far away.
Yeah, it's the one by Tom's River, right?
Yeah.
Brick and Tom's. Yeah.
There's
you go
one
there,
way
you
up
get
north.
your roast beef sandwich, you get your holster of fries, and
you're good to go.
Fries, yeah,
exactly.
So, John, what are you thinking of Waikananki?
I'm liking it. It's very, very, very light on the smoke.
Yeah, but still managed to throw a little bit of that meat flavor that you like in a smoked beer.
Yeah, I mean it's there, and see, there was a little bit more pronounced, like I said in the Austin one, a little bit more pronounced smoke. So my first sip of this one, I didn't get any smoke. Now my palate's acclimating to it a little bit more, but it is very light on the smoke. So, but it's very clean. It's very crisp. It's very good.
But you are getting that touch of Band-Aid that John Hall mentioned earlier.
Of course. I mean, why wouldn't you?
It's what you're looking for.
It's what you want.
It's absolutely what you're looking for. This is really a very well done beer. I like this. I love this can art too. This can art's
very nice. There's some. I mean, I'm liking some of the new can art that Treehouse is doing versus the the old, if you will, colors with the tree logo and on it or whatever.
Yeah, I'm enjoying this on many levels.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. But I'm sad John doesn't have one to weigh in on it as well.
I've got a couple left. I can always drop one off at his place.
Oh, please don't.
I don't want you knowing where I live.
I was gonna say you're the reason we have a Ring camera.
Hey, I don't think
that isn't open. Hold on, we're at the time down.
But wait a second. You never renew the restraining order, John.
That's just. I just went to the next level. You're always welcome to, and I always try to give people beer in response because I have a lot of beer here, and my family has gotten very used to strange men showing up and just leaving packages of beer on the doorstep. And my wife is always like, I don't know, there's like a guy like walking up the lawn, and it's like, it's fine. He's just gonna leave a package. She's like, the neighbors talk about us, right? And I was like, and that's why they also get beer. Like they're happy about this as well. That strange dudes are showing up at all hours of the day with
wonderful symbiotic relationship.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. All right. What do you have any future plans for the page?
I mean, let's get it.
Had to be asked, right?
No, let's get it to 2000. So it's interesting. COVID has really, messed with things quite a bit. Andy Crouch and I had great plans for our original company, which was called Beer Edge. And we were going to do a lot of in-person events, and we were going to do a lot of things. And we started to, and then COVID and everything. And then just about a year ago now, I guess in March or April of last year, we bought All About Beer. So All About Beer magazine was founded in 1979. It went up until late 2018, previous owners, whatever. So we were able to buy the assets and get the assets. And so we have the All About Beer social media, which is out there, which everybody should be following on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, etc. We're doing original content. We're doing our podcast, my show. There's an All About Beer podcast that folks should listen to, Brewer to Brewer, that people should listen to. And this is my long way of plugging all of my various shit. But
plug away.
To say that
John shot his load for plugging for you.
We are. No, seriously. I don't even need to talk about Steal This Beer because John's doing it for me, which is great. And Augie's not watching this anyway, so it's fine. God doesn't watch anything.
If he was watching this, he'd be on already.
No, exactly. Yeah, he'd be streaming.
He only watches things that he's on.
That's fine. It's the ego is strong, and I admire it a great deal. But now we're talking about doing events again, and one of the things that we are really proud to be doing is we're doing a Camp Rauch Beer event during the Craft Brewers Conference in Nashville. It's going to be in Nashville in May. It's going to be at Barrique Brewing and Blending, which if you guys are going to be down there,
we'll be there.
That's a brewery that everybody should be going to. Joel Stickrod is the brewer there. He's been doing some really cool stuff, and Spencer Longhurst is the brewer, the jack of all trades at that brewery. And he came to me and he said, we want to do a Rauch beer thing, and we've put he has, I shouldn't say we, he's put pretty much a murderer's row of Rauch beer brewers from around the country who are going to be pouring out of their specialty trailer. We're going to do some live podcasts from there, some live audience podcasts from there. It's going to be a lot of fun. So what's new for the group? We're back to live events. We're bringing Rauch beer to the people, and
if they like it or not.
Just right, exactly. Yeah, we're gonna show up at Swansea Day, and we're just gonna start pouring round beer down people's throats. It's guerrilla route beer marketing. It's just it's gonna be great. So I'm pretty sure that's how I get my first restraining order.
Let me later after the show, weeks from now, whatever. Let me know more about the route beer thing down at CBC, because we'll definitely be there.
And I need to be an employee for a weekend.
Oh. Wait, of who?
Tuesday.
I don't care as long as I get there.
I have it up in front of my calendar. Tuesday, May 9th at 5 p.m. at Barrique Brewing and Blending in Nashville, Tennessee. It's the Camp Rauch Beer event, and I already know a few brewers that are confirmed. Their names that I don't know if it's been made public yet, but it's names that are going to get people excited. People are going to be really jazzed about it, and Augie's going to be there too.
Well, what's one?
It was said once.
It was said about 6 times already. So
no, his first name was only said once.
Oh no, I said it like twice myself.
Oh damn it.
Oh, are you guys playing? Are you guys playing Steal This Beer Bingo? What's happening?
No, it's the whole Beetlejuice thing.
It's because it actually happened. Well, twice. Once was
set up.
Once was set up. The other one was Dave didn't know. Jesse was on Ferguson, and Augie knew he was coming on. He forgot about it, and then when the podcast started, the live video, he texted me and said, "I forgot Jesse was on. Send me the link." And Augie's name was said about 3 times, and as soon as Dave said it the 3rd time, he just popped up. So Dave is under the assumption
as if by magic.
So right.
Witchcraft, so now witchcraft. In this case,
okay.
We're talking.
So we're only up to 1 at this point. Then.
So we'll call it 1. Now that we've laid it down.
Good. That's cool. I don't have a late night drinking Zoom in me. I still have work to do.
I don't have the intestinal fortitude for him
do
to be on the show right now.
No.
But
what a guy. What a guy.
Don't get everybody who's listening, don't get us wrong. We all
love him. So.
I'm contractually obligated to agree with you. That's fine. He knows exactly how I feel about him.
There you go. And he does. Yeah, he does. Yeah. Anyway.
It's said on a kind of weekly basis.
All right. Talk about
the pain that man puts you through. Anyway.
Here's the thing. I am happy to play along with that, right? Because I have been playing the long-suffering co-host on there. And I do feel like I have to bring this up because for a long time, and I still get it now and again, but people will say, how do you put up with that? And they're dead serious because they listen to it and they are frustrated that he asks 90-minute questions and then answers them before the guest has it. Nobody sells their brand better than him. And it's masterful the way that he does it. But the thing is, I enjoy doing that show very much, and I have for a long time. If I want to ask questions, I can go on my own show. If I want to answer questions, I can come on your show, or the handful that'll still have me at this point. I like that. I like doing that show because Augie actually does think about the guests and ask questions that I would never think about asking. And
he does.
When he gets out of his own way and actually lets people answer, those answers are usually really insightful. And he really does have such a great flavor mind and knows how to put things together and think about things. There's some of those scenes in like the Avengers or Iron Man where he's got the digital display and he can push things out and you can see the entire schematic of things, and then he can bring them all back together. Augie, I feel, thinks that way and can and it's
on the fly too. Like he can.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So yeah, is he a pain in the ass? Absolutely. Am I a pain in the ass? Yes. Is Justin operating at 8% on most shows? It's probably 7. And Cass has never been sober for a single episode. So like altogether, like we are.
There's some days that you don't even have to add for a single episode.
Yeah, we are a broken bunch of men that are on that show, and thank God that we have it. It is the longest employment that I have had in my career in the last decade. So I like the show. I hope people enjoy listening to that because it's a lot of fun.
It's a great show.
Yeah. So anyway, I know you were trying to make like a throwaway joke about it, but I hear that I feel like I do want to set the record straight.
No, it's great. No.
Yes, he's a pain in the ass, but he's really good at what he does.
Yes, right. He is.
He absolutely is. Absolutely is.
John, you were going somewhere before we launched in that direction.
Well, no, it's funny because we talked about Steal This Beer, right? But I was just going to ask John, talk about the fact. Let's talk a little bit more. Actually, about the fact about All About Beer, like you bought it now, and let's dive into that a little bit. I know it's not smoked beer. We're not talking about route beer or anything.
We'll get back. We'll circle back.
We'll circle back, and then we'll do the top three. But yeah, talk about that now. What are your plans going forward for it at this point? Where are you at with it, and so forth?
Yeah, no, thanks. So All About Beer is something that I care deeply about. So, like I mentioned before, it was founded in 1979. Mike and Bunny Bozak were the founders. They sold it to Daniel Bradford and Julie Johnson. They ran it for 25 years. And then they sold it and then they got it back, the assets back, and then sold it to us. But I was the editor there at All About Beer from 2013 to 2017. And I loved that job, 2012 to 17, I guess. And I loved that job. I loved everything about that job and the way that journalism could be applied to the beer space. Mm-hmm. And when you go back to 2012, 2013, and you think about what else was out there, Ale Street News was still publishing regularly and doing a really good job of covering things on the local beat. And you had Celebrator on the West Coast, and you had all those brews papers in Boston and Michigan and the Southwest, and I don't know, like the greater Tacoma area, they're all very, very specific. But then on the national level, you had All About Beer, which had been around forever, and you had Beer Advocate, and you had Draft Magazine, and there's Beer the Magazine, and you had BYO Magazine, and there's all these great publications that existed that covered beer in different ways, and we were all writing about an industry that was really just starting to catch on, and when you go back and think about 10 years or so ago, and I love that job, and I was so sorry to have to leave that job when I did, but it was necessary. And so to now have it back, and Andy, who cares deeply about journalism as well, our whole goal for it is to bring original content in the beer space, back to the beer space, for beer drinkers, for enthusiasts, for brewers. It's not everybody who drinks beer wants to read about beer, and I get that, or listen to podcasts about beer, but there are enough of us out there that care about good content and want the story behind the story and want things well written or well presented. And there, Beer Advocate's gone and Draft is gone and the brews papers are gone. And there's only a handful of places that are around now. And just about everything is digital. BYO is still around for home brewers, and people should be checking that out. But it for us, we understand the gravity and the importance of what we're doing in bringing good information to the beer space. So we're updating the site regularly with articles. We have new stuff that's in the works, and we've launched a couple of podcasts. There's the All About Beer podcast that M. Souter of Pints and Panels and Don Tess, who's the Don of Beer in Canada and well beyond. They host every 2 weeks, and it's a single dive, and it's a deep dive into a single topic of beer. We're doing this brewer to brewer show, which I really love because it's brewers interviewing brewers. And we started a chain. Wow. So the first episode was Tommy Arthur interviewing Marcus Baskerville of Weathered Souls. Marcus became the host for episode 2 and interviewed Jeffrey Stuffings from Jester King. And then Jeffrey comes on for episode number 3 as host, and he interviewed Chris Johnson, who interviewed Ashley Carter, who's interviewed Tanya Cornyn, who's interviewed Ben Edmonds, and it just keeps going on. And so by the time we get to episode 100, 200, you'll be able, if I can do this right, track it back to episode number 1 and how it happened. But these are really insightful conversations where we're not getting in the way, like us 3 chuckleheads or Augie or anybody else. It's the brewers just asking questions of each other. And It's really insightful and it's a lot of fun to listen to. So, and we have some other shows that have launched recently. The Start a Brewery podcast, we're working with Laura Lodge and Candace Moon on that. And there's some other stuff in the works. And Andy does a Beer Traveler show as well. There's a lot of podcasts that are out there these days, but we're trying to, do something that is niche that somebody can find. And we just hope that people understand the value of original content, and be that of what we're doing or what you guys are doing, what we've been doing at Steal This for as long as we have, getting a subscription to BYO, going and looking at what San Diego Beer News is doing. There's these spots that are out there these days that are covering beer, fairly well. And the only way that we can do that is, if people keep reading us and supporting us and finding ways to do that. So I'm really jazzed. It's been a great first year of All About. And now that we're doing in-person Rauch beer events, I mean, retirement can't be. So yeah, it's
monetize.
Yeah, it's I'm gonna fall asleep on those sacks of Vitamin malt, and dream that they were money.
There you go. Well, depending on the beer you make, never mind.
Anyway,
wow. Yes,
that's true.
I moved on to my third.
You moved on to your third. Let me open it up so we can share the intro ourselves with each other, I should say.
So, as we open this, John, Johnny and I are both opening another Grodziskie. And I think it's good. Oh God, love it. I think that's a good segue into the history of smoked beer.
Okay.
Enlighten us.
Once upon a time, all beers were smoked. By nature of drying grain over an open flame, all beers were smoked. As the kilning process started using indirect heat, fewer beers became smoked over time. But the city of Bamberg, this is like drunk history of just, let me tell you about hops and how the British soldiers would just sort of
do you know why it's called an IPA? No, it's not.
Yeah. Fellas, let me enlighten
that's
you.
Funny.
By the way, if you ever hear anybody start, this is why they call it IPA, and they have not read either Mitch Steele's book, or Pete Brown's book on the subject, just like make sure that you stop them immediately and say, please go read these books.
Yeah.
I had a conversation like that earlier today, which will be on my podcast tomorrow.
There you go.
Everyone tune in.
To Drink Beer, Think Beer. Yeah.
I was going to ask which one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Drink Beer, Think Beer tomorrow.
Which of the 87 that you have?
Yep. It's but yeah, the city of Bamberg, thanks to the Weyermann malt facility and breweries like Spezial and certainly Schlenkerla, have I think kept the tradition alive. And now the cool thing is that there are a lot of these craft maltsters that exist that have put in smokehouses, that have put in Sain houses. SAIN, AAIN, yeah. And I'm probably not pronouncing that correctly because I don't know if anybody can pronounce these correctly. But you have like Caleb Machalky out in Indiana, and Hillary Murray down at Rabbit Hill Malt. A lot of places are smoking malt these days and doing specialty smoked malt. And Caleb, especially, I had him on Drink Beer, Think Beer 2 years ago. He'll do any kind of wood. He'll smoke anything, and put his malt over it. So he's done lavender. He's got peach wood and apple wood and all sorts of stuff. So you can get like boutique artisanal malts, smoked malt these days. And it's just it's kind of fun. So that's not a history so much as the future of it, that it can be used as a culinary ingredient in beer now. So it doesn't always have to taste like campfire or faraway bacon or Band-Aid or whatever. You can actually get some fun nuance off of that. And pitmasters will tell you that the type of smoke matters. And I think that brewers are embracing that as well these days. So yeah.
And you said it isn't picking up.
Listen, craft malt has never been stronger.
You now have artisanal smoked malts.
Yeah,
but it's not picking up.
It's getting harder out there, and the inflation. I not to be too down about it, but it's these are small farms, and they charge a premium for it, and in this economic climate, it's sort of tough for them. So, certainly, I appreciate it when I know that brewers are supporting local farms and using cool ingredients.
Of course.
And so I hope that brewers don't stop doing that, because there is a small but mighty audience for this. We may not be the biggest, but I feel like, as proven by you buying glassware, that we will spend money on frivolous Rauch beer things. Available at allaboutbeer.com/merch.
We may be the biggest, but we're some of the hardiest.
That's right.
Definitely the hardest.
Yeah.
This is very true.
We're in severe credit card debt, but damn, do we love the Rauch beer.
Hey, you know what I do when I max out a credit card?
You open another one.
I get another one. That's all.
That's how it works. I gotta say, this shilling, oh my God, this may change my top 3 later.
This is really good.
You've got all the smoke. You can still taste the wheat. You can still taste the yeast.
Mm-hmm.
This is
that shilling out of New Hampshire.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Littleton. Yeah. Oh my God, this is Here we go, right here.
Yeah.
This is with Karen. I took a trip up New Hampshire and brought these back. I think I got like 3 bottles. John got one of them. I've got another one sitting over there. Wow. This is delicious.
This is very well done. This is very good. The Treehouse was excellent. Don't get me wrong.
It was. But this one,
this Grodisky, this is really good.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Grodisky.
Yeah, there you go.
You guys are having all these beers that I need to now put on a fictional list and go try. I'm going to be in New Hampshire in a couple of weeks, so maybe I'll try to.
Yeah, you sure you're going to be anywhere near Schilling? You're going to Schilling?
I have no idea.
It's all the way up in the northwestern corner.
Northwest.
No.
It's worth the trip. It's not that huge of a state. It's definitely worth the trip.
Yeah, it's probably only about it. Like if you're going up, if you're going up anywhere like south,
Concord
if you're going over by Portsmouth, right? You're going up towards from Boston up to Portland or whatever. It's a little bit of a hike. But if you're just a little bit more west and just like by Concord or whatever, it's only probably about an hour and a half.
Yeah,
you guys are a full service show. Who needs Google Maps when I can just come on here and be like, "How do I get to this brewery from where I live?"
We've been everywhere.
Yeah,
man.
Everywhere, man.
Exactly. So, all right,
that's another That's another Johnny.
That's another Johnny.
We're being overwhelmed by Johnnies.
Exactly. All right. Before we do the top 3s, while you enjoy that, is that still what's that one?
Oh, this is still the Dovetail Rauch.
Dovetail Rauch.
Like I say, I still have to work tonight. So
you still have to do work.
Just a little slow.
Fair enough. Before we get to,
I'm gonna sleep in a little tomorrow. I already told my boss that I'm gonna probably be in a little late.
I told my boss earlier the same thing.
You are your own damn boss.
So, in any event, okay.
John. Yes, John. I may be late tomorrow. You're an idiot. You get fired.
Right,
can you fire yourself?
I could, but
wow, you just did a whole little thing there, huh?
I didn't have to do anything. I just sat here and listened to it.
It was a little skit.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, you had characters.
And scene.
Yeah,
it was a
conflict.
It was a vignette.
A little vignette. Yeah, exactly. All right. Before we get to the top 3s, John, I got to ask you because we haven't asked your opinion. We haven't really actually talked about it because there's a couple things actually. A couple things were posted today regarding it. What's your feeling? What's your take, if you will, on the New Jersey ABC ruling and everything that's going on in the state right now as far as the breweries go?
I know something happened today. I saw that the governor posted something. To be honest, I have not read it, so I don't know.
He's proposing, and I'm paraphrasing because I read it twice, but I skimmed both times. The second time was a little bit more in depth of a skim, but it was still a skim. He's proposing more a way to not devalue, but add more liquor licenses and take away as far as the actual cost of them by offering tax rebates for years for current licensees. And and then in addition to that, as far as breweries go, offer consumption licenses. Not that they don't have consumption licenses at all already, but specifically different license structures that they actually can have food, events, yada 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 yada, so forth. And again, this is just a skim, so please go check it out. Don't listen to me as verbatim, but that's the gist of what I read. So
I'm in no position to weigh in except for the fact that I've long been frustrated, not as a journalist, not as somebody who covers the beer industry or who knows it as well as I do, but simply as a consumer and as a Jersey resident, that there's so much talk about Jersey Fresh, or there's so much talk about local pride, and that for a very, very long time, the breweries in the state, which have brought jobs and have helped revitalize main streets and have helped, just bring manufacturing back to the state and given us a chance to drink local, have been treated the way that they did. So I'm saying that just simply as a drinker. So I don't know what these proposed changes will do, positive or negative. I hope that they are positive, that, brewers, writ large can actually get something out of it. I'm sure that there's going to be brewers that are unhappy with it, some brewers that are happy with it, some that are indifferent about it. Right. As a consumer, if I can, not necessarily feel like I'm a criminal walking into places, or that brewers are constantly worried that the state is going to, shut them down for, having a book signing or something, I hope that they can come to a good resolution with that. And I know that the Brewers Guild have been working really hard. Eric Orlando and his efforts, and the brewers that are involved with him have been doing some really, really great stuff. So I hope this is what they're looking for. I apologize. I've been in meetings all day, so I saw it happen, but I can't speak with any authority.
The post
be better, Jersey.
The gist is, here we go. There have long been. This is just from Politico. There have long been efforts to reform New Jersey's liquor laws, which permit towns to issue one permit for every 3,000 residents. This can make licensing extremely valuable. Blah 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 blah. Here's what
except in Hoboken, but
except in Hoboken, right? Yeah. That's a totally different scene. So here's, in Hoboken, you can have 3,000 residents in one block. So here's what the governor's proposing: phasing out the population cap by 10% each year for 5 years, and then lifting it altogether. So new licensees would be issued with progressive fees based on the size of the businesses that apply. And the municipalities would be allowed to tack on their own local fees and create new consumption licenses for breweries, wineries, and distilleries to do away with the current restrictions on selling food and hosting events.
But there's there's no restrictions on wineries.
Right.
So,
but who wants to drink Jersey wine?
That's a good point.
Have you guys heard of this brewery up north called Bolero Snort?
Oh, no, that's not. Is it a brewery?
Okay. There's a guy,
their 10-year anniversary is coming up this weekend.
There's a guy who works there by the name of Scott Wells. You should look him up and have him on your broadcast, because
hold on. How do you spell that?
W-E-L-L-S. First name Scott, 2 T's. You should have him on, because he more than anybody else aside from Eric at the Guild perfectly articulates what this actually means for breweries of his size and others. So when I need answers on this, I call Scott.
John, all we really have to do is just We don't have to talk. We don't have to guess. All we got to do is flash up meme after meme after meme after meme after meme,
I mean,
and we'll
I
get his opinion.
I could just take Scott's post from the last 6 months, and that's 2 shows.
Credit to Scott for that, because he has kept the conversation going through that, and he found a way of getting people interested in governmental policy. Like Johnny, I could feel you losing interest reading that Politico article out loud. You know, we are a society that, because we get bogged down in the legislature, we get bogged down in the language, and Scott has found a way to crack that code, and I love him for it. And I think that he is he's done some really great things in 140 characters or less and stock images.
He really does. And on a regular basis, my daily texts to him are 140 characters or less, and he does some amazing things in that too. So, but it's amazing. So
yeah, we've met him a few times.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, we're good.
I'm happy to make an introduction.
There you go.
We'll
figure it out.
We shared a chicken parm or two with the man.
There you go. All right. On that note, did you just crack your 4th beer?
Of course I did.
Because I'm still enjoying this Grodisky. I mean, I didn't.
I thoroughly enjoyed the Grodisky.
Yeah, but you drink too fast. So you know what? You put it up. I'll still open it, but we'll put it up. What do you? Or you want to wait until I get there?
How long have you guys been married?
Too long.
Too long already. I've got papers and well, this was given to us by someone who doesn't even drink beer.
He only drinks Modelo's.
So. Oh, he drinks Modelo's. That's right. That's correct. And
don't knock Modelo. You want to talk about growth in the category?
Hell yeah!
Holy crap! Go look at Mexican imports right now. And
Modelo is insane.
Yeah,
Modelo Negra is a great beer.
I love Negra.
Okay.
And Especial I like as well.
You like it better than I do. And certainly Joe likes it better than both of us. But Negra is a decent beer. I can drink Negra a couple here and there. I can drink a couple Negras here.
Joe, who is the rep from the Neshaminy Creek, brought us some of these.
He's dropped beer off on my stoop. He's one of those guys.
He's one of those weirdos.
I think. I don't know. Yeah. I get texts from unknown numbers like, "Hey, it's Joe from Neshaminy. I'm outside of your house. You know, sorry I upset your dog.
Release.
Sorry,
I upset your Ring camera.
Yeah." Be like, "Oh no, I'm not home." I say as I'm in the basement.
Pay no attention to that guy that looks like me through the window. Yeah. It's not.
No one in the house make a sound.
No, I like what Neshaminy's doing. They did a fun cream ale last year that made that list that you were talking about, that top 50 list, and I think that they're doing some fun stuff with Rauch, and I love that they're always trying it. They're trying new things as well. So and that's what we need. We need experimentation in the space. Obviously, Carton I think is good for that. There are other breweries that experiment in different ways. But just getting a variety
you mean fuckery.
No, I that's not my word that I use. But I enjoy when I can walk into a brewery and they are willing to have a Rauch beer on and a cream ale on and a Scotch ale and maybe like a British IPA. They're doing something to offer diversity of their tap list, which I think helps bring in a lot of different drinkers, and that we're not just getting stuck like, they have 9 hazies on, and this one they put the Mosaic in before the Citra. This one, the Citra is before the Mosaic.
That's crazy.
And I know that's an old joke by now at this point, but there's still a lot of places that are doing it. And so I think when you are a place that has diversity in the tap list, and Neshaminy is one of those, so well done, folks.
I gotta say, I'm enjoying this. And yes, that is surprising my voice.
I know.
But
I'm shocked to shit that I'm enjoying this beer.
I'm not shocked to shit. This is actually pretty damn good. I like the can art on this. I think one of the things I like the most about the can art on this, none of the skeletons on it are throwing up.
No, yeah, because usually a bird or a coconut throwing up.
There's something throwing up
on a Neshaminy label. Yeah. But that I think they took that away. They were doing that.
They stopped doing that.
They stopped doing that. Yeah. Anyway, this
beer. I haven't seen one of their labels. That's terrible.
No. Yeah, They have.
They had a pumpkin.
It was a coconut stout where the coconuts were throwing up into a river of like chocolate or something.
One of their pumpkin ales. Wasn't the pumpkin throwing up?
Pumpkin was throwing up.
Yeah.
But see, river of chocolate though, liquefied chocolate, and that's how you enjoy it with beer.
There you go.
And
we've come
and good night, everybody.
And we're out. Drop that mic.
I was just going to say the Bone Crusher, the beer you're drinking too. It's a collab with Dock Street, and the reason that they did a smoked porter was because the Chamonix has won awards of JBF for their Croydon is Burning, for their smoked Talus, I believe, and then Dock Street is one for their porter. So they put the two together. They did a smoked porter. So there you go. So
I like that.
That's at least what Joe told me.
Yeah,
actually told you too, but you weren't listening.
No, I don't pay attention to him.
But all right.
If anything comes out of Joe's mouth, he drinks
He drinks beer. Joe busts your chops. He drinks beer. He drinks good beer. He knows good beer.
But he also drinks White Claws.
But he does. Sadly, he does.
As there's money behind that, so
this is true.
We should not make fun.
Did you see? Just to throw this out there, and then we'll do the top threes. Did you see this today? Al posted this new White Claw flavors.
Oh God, that was hilarious.
All right. Did you see
I like Brian's comment though.
All right. No. The new these 5 new White Claw flavors. Flavor 1 is transported in a truck near bananas. All right. Mm-hmm. Hint of lime. All right.
It's funny.
Single Skittle dissolved in water. Shy watermelon. And then the 5th one is imagine like a strawberry but with low battery.
They're going to make $500 million.
Probably.
And Alt Schul's comment was, are they just describing the old flavors?
Yeah, they just rebranded them, Al said. Yeah. So anyway. All right.
Proudly made in Hillside, New Jersey.
Proudly made. Yes, exactly.
Very proudly. Because they're rolling in the friggin' money right now.
Absolutely. All right.
And the skinny jeans.
This is true. This is very true. All right. Top 3. Let's do our top 3 list. What do you think?
Okay.
I think we should do our top 3 list. Top 3. Shocker. We're doing top 3 favorite smoked beers. Top 3 favorite rock beers. Let's let Mr. Hall go first. 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, whatever you want to do. No order.
No particular order. Alaskan Smoked Porter goes top of list for me. There was a collaboration that I really enjoyed that Green Bench and Bierstadt did that was called Up in Smoke.
Ooh.
And I feel so. I've worked at places in the past, right, where you ask somebody a question and they're always going to say, Seminole beers or whatever, and you're always going to say Orval. So like you stop saying Orval because it's just sort of a given. So I feel like anything that Schlenkerla makes is a given that it sort of lives above a top 3. So I'm not going to say that because it sort of lives in its own thing. I've had like some really good Rauch beers through the ages, and I don't know. Let me think on my third for a minute, and then come back to me.
All right, you got it.
Yeah, you've got some time because I've got 6 on my list.
Oh, geez. Dave's got 6 of his top 3. There you go. I only got. I'm only going to give 3 because
you only give 3.
Well, I'm only going to give 3. I had an honorable mention, but I'm sure one of my honorable mention or 3 is yours. So.
Maybe not. What I want to bring up, it was. I don't even remember how long ago this one was brewed. Weyerbacher 15. They did a smoked stout. That one I remember being quite special.
Is this an honorable mention?
It's probably an honorable mention.
Okay.
He's taking notes, John, so he's going to post this up. It's good. So another honorable mention is when I was in Italy and went to Birrificio Bandai. Ben Fumati. They had done a smoke beer. So being in Italy and drinking a Rauch was that was kind of special. So The beer was pretty damn good. That's why it's an honorable mention. But the fact that, I was 8 kilometers from the Austrian border, sitting in a brewery in a skiing village in Italy, added some specialness to it. And I don't think specialness is a word, but we're going to go with that. Rauchschloss from Human Robot. That one's quite well done.
Okay, this is your that was your number 3.
Yeah, sort of. Maybe I think that's another honorable.
Okay.
No. Make that 3, because another honorable mention I'm going to throw in there is going to be Cherry Swisher, but also the Wayne's Way variant of it from the first Hunapoo that Carton Brewing attended. So,
Jesus, do you guys owe him money?
At this point, he owes us money.
He'll disagree.
Oh, that's great.
That's probably about right. Yeah. A beer or 2 would be nice. Toss us a beer or 2. But no, Wayne's Way was Cherry Swisher, aged on cedar, because it was down in Cigar City. Of course, you're going to put it on cedar for the Humidor series.
Sure.
I love how much thought you're putting it. Does this go to like the Museum of Broadcast or something?
It does.
Where do these get enshrined?
Definitely. Well, it becomes an Instagram post. It's really
that's all it all becomes.
Okay.
Yeah. And I had a smoked Helles lager from Zillicoa down in Nashville. Zillicoa's got a really neat space, and they're doing fantastic stuff. And this smoked Helles, this is number 2 on the list.
Who is this? This smoked Helles from who?
Zillicoa, Zill.
Yep, I got it.
Okay. Because I know you're writing shit down. And I don't know, because Zillicoa may have been my number 1, but this just took the number 1 spot. This is fantastic. The Schilling Pivo Grodziskie. I mean, I really, 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 really enjoyed this beer.
Fair enough.
So that's got to take it the top spot. I was suspecting that one of the beers I was going to drink tonight might jump into the top 3. I didn't expect one of them to take the top spot. And
fair enough.
I should have realized it's Schilling.
It is Schilling.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. All right. I'll give you my 3, unless John, you have your third.
So yeah, I messed it up. The collaboration that I was thinking of, it's called All the Hype that Bierstadt did with Green Bench. They also did.
It's not Up in Smoke.
I think they did Up in Smoke, but All the Hype was the one that I really preferred. Alaskan smoked porter, and then Fox Farm does the Cabin.
Oh yes,
which is a really really fun route that's out there. And then obviously honorable mentions for Suarez Stand to Reason and pretty much anything Switchback is doing these days. And there's anything Dovetail is doing these days. And there's it's kind of fun. You guys were saying before, like you can go to so many different places and find Rauch beer these days. It's not setting the sales numbers on fire, but it's.
And I still maintain This Week in Rauch Beer may have had something to do with it.
Thank you. It's all because of the dedicated group behind it. Yeah, I'm merely an admin on a Facebook page. It is the community.
It's the community behind it.
It's
the community that you inspired.
It takes a village on fire.
It takes a drunken village on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. And I'll give you mine nice and easy. We'll do it. I'll give an honorable mention to. There's a bunch on here. You're absolutely right. Fox Farm, the Cabin is amazing.
It is.
I'm not going to re-mention things. Cherry Swish, of course.
Just dump over your recycling bin. What's happening over there?
No, I just opened my beer fridge to pull up.
His microphone picks up everything. Listen to me. If you place gently a fork in his sink 20 feet away, it sounds like you dropped a plate glass window on the floor.
All right.
his
So
mic.
that soundproofing foam behind you is just for show, then.
It's just
Yeah.
for show. Yeah.
Yeah. There's no soundproofing on that.
Decorative foam.
It's decorative
And
foam.
again,
Yeah.
money right there.
Yeah.
That you spent to buy that.
He bought. Yeah, paid for
yeah.
that. Yeah. Exactly.
I actually did pay. God damn it!
But I'll give you mine. So I'll throw them out there.
I feel dirty all of a second.
Well, you should. The honorable mention I'm gonna throw out there. Bespoke Brewing, new brewery, 2 years old, year and a half old, probably at this point. In Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Actually, they're in Strasburg, Pennsylvania, just southeast of Lancaster.
Just west of East Strasburg.
Just there you go. It's literally across the street from the Strasburg Railroad Museum. All of that.
Oh, cool.
They opened
That's
up.
nowhere near Lancaster.
No, it's southeast of Lancaster. Absolutely, southeast of Lancaster.
Well,
anyway,
not Stroudsburg.
not Stroudsburg, Strasburg.
Strasburg.
Gotcha. Anyway, they did a smoked Schwarzbier. That's the name of it, smoked Schwarzbier. They did a smoked Schwarzbier last year. In fact, I posted it on This Week in Route Beer when I had it out there. But anyway, it was phenomenal.
Bless you, sir.
It was phenomenal. But my top three, I'll just give you. My number three, Queen City, which is across the street from Zero Gravity up in Burlington, up in Vermont.
Yeah.
They did
just a couple months ago.
They did Franconian.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, decent one. Epic Brewing, smoked and oaked. Is a
Great one.
is a good one. And then my number one, Smoking Wood from the brewery. It's an imperial smoke. It's an imperial smoke, imperial route beer, and aged in a rye whiskey barrel too. So it really adds a ton of.
Yeah, that'll help.
Yeah, it's crazy good beer. Anyway, so those are. See, I always just mine are quick. I just rattle through them because
I got stories.
Somebody else takes too Augie. I mean, takes too long with his
this guy
descriptions of things. So anyway, so those are mine. So, but you know what? This Gretzky from Schilling, you're absolutely right. This is phenomenal.
My God,
what up there?
That beer blew me away.
I hooked up with one can of a smoked robust porter from Treehouse while I was there. So didn't want to drink it on the show because there's already 4 that we were having. So
yeah,
and you're probably having a fifth. So
no, I'd open my fifth.
You open your fifth. Of
But
course
I had to open my fifth because John mentioned them earlier. When you think of smoked beers, when you think of a Rauch,
mm-hmm. When you think of Iraq, a Rauch. There you go.
Yeah. I had to, and this is the Doppelbock.
Mm-hmm.
My first was the Meritzen. But going to the Doppelbock now, this is the 5th beer. I mean, these are all lower ABV, so I know that I probably drank more alcohol content on the Big Beer Show, which was the last show we did.
Right.
So, but
there you go. Yeah, we had some big ones on that show. So, all right,
we done did.
All right. Couple of points before we go. As you drink your Schlenkerla. This Thursday, January 12th. 12th, there you go. At anybody watching this locally in Jersey anyway, at Paragon up in Clark is New Jersey NJCB night, but it's going to benefit Brew Jersey. Brewery Strong, rather. Not Brew Jersey.
Brewery Strong, yeah.
Brewery Strong. I believe it's $1 of every pint sold goes to Brewery Strong. And there's 20 some odd New Jersey breweries going to have beer on. And one of them just happens to be this one.
I've not heard of them. Who's that?
Coastal Brew Works.
Those guys. Yeah,
the Coffee Porter, the Nautical Twilight Coffee Porter is going to be on tap as well.
Damn good beer.
So, if you're around,
you should do a smoked version of that.
We should do a smoked version of that. Maybe even get it down to CBC. But we'll see. BC. But anyway, so yeah, John, if you're around, I don't know if your plans are on Thursday, but
thank you. I'm probably going to be close to home.
You're still gotcha.
Fathering.
Yes, gotcha. But anyway, so that's going on. That's going on this week, and I'm not saying that for Coastal Brew Works by any means. I'm saying that for Brewery Strong.
Now, I would be there, but I want to give a shout out because he's been on our show so many times.
Mm-hmm.
That night, Tom Mulvihill of the Beer Whisperer, it will be premiering his podcast, The Pub with the Beer Whisperer.
Mm-hmm.
And his inaugural guest will be he probably made, I was probably like the 20th person he asked, but that will be the inaugural guest on there. No. We'll have fun.
You were one of the first few people he asked, and I was one of them too. And I think I'm either the second or the third guy on second or third show I'm on. But
yeah, this should be good. It'll get deep at some points, and get very, very lighthearted. And the best part of it is we don't have to necessarily drink beer because it is the pub. But I'll probably be drinking beer.
I'm sure you'll. No, see, anytime I go on with Tom, and not to keep.
But I'll probably make a Manhattan while I'm on the show.
Gotcha. There you go. Anytime I go on with Tom, I drink I just drink Manhattans or old fashions, or just bourbon neat or anything else. So,
I may have to make him. We'll see. I've got to figure out what I want to do with that.
I am opening just for shiggles because I want to drink it, and if I don't drink it now, it'll sit in the back of the fridge for another.
Shiggles is what the young people say when they want to say shits and giggles.
Okay, so that means I'm a young person?
No, you're not allowed to say this stuff.
Not at all. So there you go. So here's Bone Crusher. I'm going to taste it right now. And it is pretty good. A little sweeter than I thought it would be, but it's good.
Yeah, but I like the sweetness in it.
Yeah, the sweetness is good. It cuts the smoke a little bit, so the smoke is light in the background. It's a nice solid porter. It's pretty good. I like it. It's got a good beat. You can dance to it. Anyway, all right. We're boring, John.
Oh no, I was just answering emails. I wasn't sure if you guys still needed me here for this. I'm sorry.
No, you're still
I know I'm still on camera.
You're still the guest.
That's another open. Hold on, let me write the time down. Hold on. Emails. There you go.
You haven't finished that beer yet? My God.
He's enjoying it. He's savoring it. He's not like you.
No, I just drank an NA safety glasses pills.
You didn't tell us that you opened that one. But this is important.
Listen, I don't need your approval.
He doesn't need validation.
I don't need your validation for.
I'm not saying that, what I'm saying is it's important. Tell us about this beer because this is an important thing.
That's true. You did want to know that. That's true.
This show going on. Good Lord.
This is a new movement.
No, NAs have been growing in the U.S. for the last couple of years.
Yes.
There's a handful, I think, that are doing them well, and there's well-known versions. There's smaller breweries that are getting into it as well. It is an incredibly complicated process to do it and to do it right. You need to make sure that a brewery is investing in the right equipment so that unwanted pathogens do not grow inside of the beer and kill you. So get your NA beer from like place. It sounds funny, and I know it kind of is, but
it's right though.
Yeah, it's 100% right. So anyway, Jeff O'Neill of Industrial Arts up in New York, who knows how to make beer well, has been working on his NA program, his non-alcoholic program, for quite some time. So he has a Pilsner out now and he has an IPA out now. And I think that both of them do the job of tasting like beer without the booze. And it's technically a brew, not a beer. And yeah, you guys should do a whole other show on NA beers and talk to the folks who know it. But I've been incorporating NA beers into my drinking more regularly. I mean, hell, we're recording at 10 o'clock at night. I'm usually in bed by now, but I still have a night ahead of me. And if I was, if I didn't have to go to work in the morning, I still wouldn't be pounding 6 beers on a live stream. that my family could find later on and use against me. But it's I find it very helpful to have these beers, and especially if they're well made, to sort of supplement as I'm drinking. So people do dry January or sober October or things like that, and I think that's great if that's what you want to do. I've found that working these in moderation it works for me.
You know what? I can actually see that because I don't do dry January. I don't do sober October, but I try to limit. I don't say that tongue in cheek. I try to limit myself. Like I don't drink. Like I had 4 beers on the show tonight, or I'm having my 4th right now. I didn't have any other beer today. This was all I had. And tomorrow, Wednesday, I'm not going to have any. I won't have any beer.
Sure.
I don't. When I sample beer with accounts or anything like that, I don't drink it. I will obviously I'll have a couple beers on Thursday because we have the event, but normally I wouldn't drink on a Thursday either. So, I try to moderate myself throughout the week, specific days, depending on what the events are. And the weekend is the weekend, right? But so I try to do the same thing you're saying, but having that option, having a non-alcoholic option would be something to filter into that process.
As
and I think
it's got good flavor to it, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And I can imagine what's coming out of Industrial Arts does meet that because they know how to hop.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the concept of doing a non-alcoholic Lager Room Guys podcast, there's a couple of things there. One, there's that statement that the drunker you get, the more interesting we are, but also the drunker us and the guests get, the more interesting gets.
That's never actually applied. I think it's fun for the people who are on the screen. I think the audience largely tunes out to those types of things. I'm just speaking from experience.
Right.
But John and I have seen on the show where we started off with a guest who was like very, very dry. We're texting each other going, this is going to be about an hour.
Yeah, and it's not us, it's the guest.
It
hasn't applied to a lot. It's probably maybe 3 or 4 over the last 2.5 years. That once they got halfway through or finished their second beer and was into their third, then they were like a completely different person than they started the podcast with.
Yeah.
So, but that again, that's a needle in a haystack. It's a per case basis. But in any event, I do like the idea of doing the non-alcoholic show because it's actually something that's interesting. If it's a beer that can be brewed, like I would love to be able to sit here and you and I, Dave, to have 2 or 3 non-alcoholic beers from whatever brewery is on, whether it's Industrial Arts or whatever.
Got to find 2 or 3
right.
that we're going to like.
Well,
right?
it's the 2, right? If it's the Pilsner and the IPA that Industrial Arts do, we have him on the show, and have them and sit here and actually enjoy them and this is a really solid Pilsner. This is a really good IPA, and talk about the fact that we're not drinking any alcohol.
But that's why I wanted John and dragged him even further down this rabbit hole of God. I want to get off this fucking podcast and get back to work. So
I just have to get.
But that's why
I have to write, edit, and post a podcast by midnight, guys.
Yeah.
But that's why I wanted to have him briefly bring this up, and we've probably stretched it out a lot longer than John.
I think it's important, and I think that
it is important
in moderation, especially when it tastes good. There's a certain point. Matt Kierkegaard, who does Brew News Australia, introduced the concept of the third beer.
Okay.
The third beer. So he'll go out and he'll have 2, and then of whatever strength he's in the mood for, and then he'll switch to NA, and so you get to ride out a little bit of a buzz if that's what you're looking for, and even some of the stigmas, right? I know that it can be like cheap, easy jokes to be like, oh, NA, like that kind of thing. I have been out at industry events. I've been out with friends. I've been out like casually, and in certain circles, friends like, oh, John's the beer guy. Nobody blinks an eye if I'm drinking a Heineken NA. Nobody cares. That whole sort of like, oh, it must be on the wagon or trouble again. Like that kind of thing.
There's no stigma. I mean, 20 years ago, that would have been.
Sure.
That would have been.
But 20 years ago, the beers also tasted like garbage. So,
yes.
So anyway.
Yeah. So, all right.
Well,
on that note, look,
let's get John off the hook here.
Let's get you going, John. Go get your
Thanks, fellas. Stuff done. Thanks for having me on. This was really a long time coming, and I'm glad that we were able to make it work. And
absolutely,
I'm glad. I'm glad to be here with you guys.
And we really appreciate it. We do.
We appreciate the lie. Thank you.
Whatever helps you pass out on that pillow.
Bad note. So, all right. No, we
won't remember any of this.
I'll remember. I'll remember. No. I've only taken 2 sips of my 4th beer. He's almost finished with his 5th. So,
no, actually, there's still quite a bit of my 5th.
Oh, there you go. All right. So, all right. Anyway, John, thank you.
I'm not as thick as you drunk I am.
I'm trying to end the show, but anyway. All right. On that note, John, again, thanks for coming on. We really appreciate it. We want to do the show for a while. Again, like you said, just to echo your words. Thank you for making it happen. Thank you for coming on. But on that note, we will wrap up the show for today. We want to thank everybody for watching. And for those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thanks for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.lagerroom.com. That's LAGERROOM.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course, our YouTube channel. All of them are at The Lager Room. Remember, we go live with the video podcast on both Facebook and YouTube every Tuesday night, usually around 6:30 p.m. We had a special start time tonight.
Thank you.
Anytime. Absolutely. And for those of you who just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music Podcasts, and iHeartRadio as well. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds and you will never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. Drink a lot of beer, but drink responsibly. And we will talk to you soon, folks. Take care. Cheers.
Cheers.
Take care.